The vast Kilari warship emerged from hyperspace like a predatory creature, its crystalline hull refracting starlight in mesmerizing patterns. Supreme Commander Vaxar stood on the bridge, his iridescent scales shifting colors with satisfaction as Earth came into view. Another primitive world to add to the Empire's collection. Status report, he commanded, voice resonating through the neural interface that connected all Kilari crew members. Scanning complete, Supreme Commander, his science officer responded. Detecting primitive satellite networks, basic space stations, and minimal defensive capabilities. Military technology appears to be at least 3 centuries behind Imperial standards. Vaxar's facial tendrils curled in amusement. The reports had been accurate. These humans were barely space-capable. Their scattered nations still fought among themselves. Their spacecraft couldn't even reach their system's outer planets, and their weapons were based on crude projectile technology. Begin the standard first contact protocol, he ordered. Let's show them what true power looks like. In the depths of Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Elena Santos watched the alien vessel's arrival on quantum-enhanced sensors that the Kilari's scans couldn't detect. She allowed herself a small smile as she observed their predictable behavior. The same arrogant approach that humanity had anticipated for the last 50 years. They're following the expected pattern, she reported to General Marcus Chen, who stood beside her monitoring holographic displays showing Earth's hidden defensive grid. Running surface scans, focusing on our decoy satellites and the outdated weapons systems we let them see. Perfect, Chen replied, his weathered face illuminating in the soft blue glow of the holographics. Broadcast the welcome message. Let's play our part. Across Earth's major cities, carefully crafted holograms showed panicked crowds responding to the massive alien ship now visible in the day sky. Military forces mobilized with deliberately obsolete equipment, and governments made chaotic emergency broadcasts, all part of an elaborate performance 50 years in the making. The Kilari ship's communications array activated, broadcasting in all Earth frequencies. Supreme Commander Vaxar's image appeared on screens worldwide, his alien features designed to intimidate. People of Earth, he began, I am Supreme Commander Vaxar of the Kilari Empire. Your world has been chosen for incorporation into our domain. Submit to imperial rule, and you shall be granted the privileges of a protectorate state. Resist, and face extinction. You have 1 planetary rotation to provide your answer. In the mountain facility, Alina and Chen exchanged knowing looks. Everything was proceeding exactly as the forewarning protocol had predicted decades ago. The Kilari Empire's expansion followed precise patterns that humanity had studied meticulously through covert quantum observations since first detecting their activities in nearby star systems. Send the response, Chen ordered. On the Kilari bridge, Vaxar received the human's transmission. A single representative appeared, an older female in primitive formal attire. Her voice trembled convincingly as she spoke. We accept your terms, Supreme Commander. Earth submits to the Kilari Empire's authority. We request guidance on how to proceed with the integration process. Vaxar's scales rippled with triumph. Another bloodless victory for the Empire. These humans were clearly as weak and primitive as their technology suggested. Prepare the integration fleet, he commanded his officers. Full occupation protocol. Deep beneath the Earth's surface, in quantum-shielded facilities that the Kilari couldn't detect, humanity's real technological might hummed with power. Alina watched as the alien ships began their approach, completely unaware they were falling into a trap centuries in the making. They took the bait, she said softly. Initiation protocol is ready to begin. Chen nodded, his eyes reflecting the same quiet determination that had driven humanity's secret preparations for this moment. Send the activation codes. It's time to show the Kilari Empire why you should never judge a species by what they want you to see. The trap was set. The Kilari Empire was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their hidden technology or secret defenses. It was their ability to plan, to deceive, and to turn an enemy's own arrogance into their greatest weakness. The Kilari integration fleet descended through Earth's atmosphere in perfect formation, their crystalline ships casting prismatic shadows over major cities. Supreme Commander Vaxar watched with satisfaction as his forces began their standard occupation protocol, a methodology that had subjugated 17 other civilizations. What he couldn't see were the quantum particles entangled with every molecule of his ship's hulls, invisibly connecting them to humanity's hidden defense network. Each vessel was already compromised, though they wouldn't know it for hours. In the Cheyenne Mountain complex, Dr. Elena Santos monitored the quantum infiltration process. Phase 1 complete, she announced, her fingers dancing over holographic controls. The nanotechnology is successfully replicating within their hull matrices. General Chen watched as the tactical display showed thousands of microscopic points of light spreading through the Kilari vessels, like a stellar constellation coming to life. Begin Phase 2. Let them think they're in control for exactly as long as we need. Aboard the Kilari command ship, Vaxar received the first occupation reports. His ground forces were securing human government facilities, meeting minimal resistance. The primitive military forces they encountered were exactly as weak as their scans had suggested. Everything was proceeding according to Imperial protocol. Supreme Commander, his chief security officer called out, "We're detecting some unusual energy signatures from the human facilities we've captured." "Analyze them," Vaxar ordered dismissively. "It's probably their crude fission technology." But the energy signatures were something else entirely. In laboratories hidden beneath the occupied cities, quantum reactors were powering up. The seemingly primitive human technology the Kilari had seized was beginning to change at the molecular level, its true nature emerging like a butterfly from a chrysalis. Elena watched the transformation through quantum-linked sensors. The metamorphosis is proceeding as planned. Their systems are completely integrated with the nanotech now. They just don't know it yet. The first sign that something was wrong came when Kilari ground forces began reporting equipment malfunctions. Their energy weapons would not fire. Their communication systems produced only static. Their protective shields flickered and died. "Supreme Commander," the security officer's voice carried an edge of panic now. "Our ground forces are experiencing widespread systems failures. Something is affecting our technology." Vaxar's scales darkened with rage. "Impossible. These primitives can't possibly." His words were cut short as the ship's neural interface suddenly went dead, severing the psychic connection between crew members. For the first time in their species' history, the Kilari were truly alone in their own minds. Throughout the fleet, confusion turned to chaos. The crystalline ships began to drift, their control systems responding to commands from somewhere deep beneath the Earth's surface. The occupation forces found themselves trapped inside their own armor, the supposedly primitive human buildings sealing themselves like high-tech prisons. In Cheyenne Mountain, Elena allowed herself a moment of pride. The quantum override is complete. Their entire fleet is under our control. "Send the message," Chen ordered, his voice carrying the weight of decades of preparation. On every Kilari screen and neural interface, the same words appeared. "Did you really think we wouldn't be ready for you?" The message continued, explaining in precise detail how humanity had observed their empire for 50 years, studying their technology, their tactics, their weaknesses. How every piece of primitive technology the Kilari had encountered was a carefully crafted facade. How humanity had turned the entire occupation force into an unwitting delivery system for their quantum-based countermeasures. Vaxar stood on his bridge, watching helplessly as his mighty fleet hung motionless in Earth's sky. The primitives he had come to subjugate had outmaneuvered him so completely that he could hardly comprehend it. "Your empire has conquered 17 worlds," the human message concluded. "But you never learned the most important lesson. Appearances can be deceiving. Humanity didn't just prepare for war. We prepared for victory." As if to emphasize the point, the crystalline hulls of the Kilari ships began to glow with a strange light. The quantum particles entangled in their structure had completed their work. The entire invasion fleet was now permanently transformed, their technology reprogrammed at the molecular level. "Send the terms," General Chen commanded, his voice carrying no trace of triumph, only the steady resolve that had characterized humanity's long preparation for this moment. The message that appeared before Supreme Commander Vaxar was simple. The Kilari Empire can choose to retreat and never return, or learn firsthand what humanity's real military capabilities look like. You have one planetary rotation to decide. Commander Vaxar's response to humanity's ultimatum came not with words, but with a desperate act of defiance. Hidden quantum transmitters in his fleet activated, attempting to send a distress signal to the Empire's central command. The humans had anticipated this too. In the Cyber Warfare Center beneath Singapore, Captain Maya Chen watched the transmission attempt on her quantum interface displays. Her team of elite hackers had been waiting for this moment, their neural links humming with accumulated data. "They're trying to call for help," she announced to her team. "Initiate Operation Black Hole." The Kilari transmission never reached its destination. Instead, it was captured by Earth's quantum network, transformed into a digital Trojan horse, and redirected into the heart of the Empire's communications grid. The trap within a trap was sprung. Signal intercepted and repurposed, Maya reported to her superior, Admiral Sarah Zhang, who monitored the operation from her command center. Beginning deep penetration of Kilari networks. The Empire's much-vaunted digital defenses, which had protected their secrets for millennia, began to crumble. Human quantum algorithms, developed through decades of preparation, sliced through their security protocols like plasma through ice. On his immobilized flagship, Vaxar watched in horror as his ship's secure databases began displaying their contents on every screen. But it wasn't just his ship's data. Information from across the entire Empire was flooding in, secrets buried for centuries suddenly exposed to light. "By the first star," he whispered, his scales pale with shock. "What have they done?" The humans had turned the Kilari's own network against them. Every attempt to stop the data breach only opened new vulnerabilities. The Empire's entire history was being downloaded, decoded, and analyzed in real time by Earth's quantum AI systems. In Singapore, Maya's team began categorizing the flood of information. "Admiral, you need to see this," she called, her voice tense. "The Kilari Empire, they're not what they claim to be." The truth emerged from the data like a dark star rising. The Kilari Empire wasn't the ancient civilization they pretended to be. They were scavengers, having discovered the ruins of a genuine ancient species, the true Kilari. Centuries ago, they had taken the name, copied the technology they could understand, and used it to build their empire through intimidation and deception. Their entire imperial mystique is a lie, Maya explained as the data continued to pour in. Their advanced technology is mostly stolen, and they only understand a fraction of how it works. That's why our quantum tech was able to overcome it so easily. They never truly understood the principles behind their own systems. Admiral Zhang's face hardened as she processed this information. "Send this data to every world in their empire. Let's see how their subjugated planets respond when they learn the truth." The effect was devastating. Across Kilari space, 17 conquered worlds received the transmission. The Empire's carefully maintained image of technological superiority and ancient wisdom crumbled in hours. Rebellion sparked on every occupied planet as native species realized their oppressors were little more than sophisticated pirates. Vaxar watched his empire collapse through the same communications network that had once been his greatest tool of control. The humans hadn't just defeated his fleet, they had shattered the very foundation of Kilari power. In a secured quantum conference room, Earth's military leadership convened to discuss their next move. The holographic displays showed the spreading chaos throughout Kilari space as subject worlds rose up against their deceiving masters. "The Empire is fracturing," Admiral Zhang reported, "but that makes them more dangerous, not less. A cornered enemy with nothing to lose is the most dangerous kind. Dr. Elena Santos, joining from Cheyenne Mountain, nodded in agreement. Their leadership will be desperate to maintain control. They'll use whatever weapons they have left, no matter the cost. Then we proceed with Phase 4, General Chen decided. It's time to show them that we didn't just prepare for defense. Maya, begin transmission of the activation codes. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations began powering up. Humanity's real fleet, concealed in dimensional pockets throughout their home system, was about to reveal itself. The Kilari thought they had seen the extent of Earth's deception. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Space rippled like water across the solar system as humanity's hidden fleet emerged from dimensional storage. Ships that had been concealed in pocket universes throughout the asteroid belt, beneath the surfaces of moons, and in the atmospheres of gas giants revealed themselves in a carefully choreographed sequence. Admiral Sarah Jung stood on the bridge of the Earth flagship Prometheus, watching as her fleet assembled. Each vessel represented decades of engineering and preparation, their designs incorporating both recovered ancient technology and humanity's own innovations. Fleet status report, she commanded, her neural interface connecting her directly to the quantum eye running ship operations. All vessels reporting ready, Admiral. Her XO, Commander James Chen, responded. The dimensional seals are stable, and quantum drives are operating at full capacity. The Kilari won't know what hit them. The human fleet was unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. While the Kilari had stolen and copied ancient technology, humanity had taken the time to understand the fundamental principles behind it. Each ship was a perfect fusion of quantum mechanics and human ingenuity. In orbit around Earth, Supreme Commander Vaxar watched in disbelief as the human fleet took formation. Their ships didn't share the crystalline architecture of Kilari vessels. Instead, they seemed to bend light around them, their hulls shifting between states of matter like liquid metal. Impossible, he whispered, his scales now a sickly pale color. Their technology, it's beyond even what the ancient Kilari achieved. You're correct. Admiral Zhang's transmission cut through his ship's compromised communications. We didn't just copy advanced technology, we improved it. Your empire took shortcuts. We took the time to do it right. The human fleet began to move, their quantum drives creating ripples in space-time itself. They didn't need hyperspace lanes like the Kilari ships. They could bend space around them, crossing vast distances through controlled dimensional folds. Dr. Elena Santos, coordinating from Earth, monitored the fleet's quantum signatures. All ships showing green across all parameters, she reported. The dimensional corridors are stable. We can begin the push into Kilari space. The invasion of the Empire had become a counter-invasion. Humanity's fleet split into precise attack formations, each group targeting key systems in Kilari space. Their ships moved with impossible grace, their quantum-based weapons capable of disrupting matter at the subatomic level. On 17 subjugated worlds, resistance forces received quantum communication packages from Earth, containing technical specifications and tactical plans. The oppressed species who had suffered under Kilari rule were about to become part of a coordinated liberation effort. Begin transmission of the defense protocols, Admiral Zhang ordered. Show our allies how to adapt their planetary defense systems against Kilari weapons. The human fleet struck with surgical precision. Rather than destroying Kilari military installations, they transformed them, using the same quantum technology that had disabled the invasion fleet. Weapons became useless, shields fell, and communication networks switched allegiance. Commander James Chen monitored the tactical displays as the reports came in. First wave successful. Admiral. Multiple Kilari strongholds have been neutralized without casualties. Their remaining forces are retreating to their core systems. But the retreat was exactly what humanity had anticipated. Their fleet wasn't just an attacking force. It was part of a massive sensor network, tracking every Kilari ship movement, every transmission, every attempt at regrouping. They're consolidating their forces around their throne world, Zhang observed, studying the quantum-enhanced tactical displays. Exactly as predicted. Execute Phase 2 of the offensive. Throughout Kilari space, dimensional corridors began to open. The human fleet didn't need to chase the retreating Empire ships. They could simply appear where they needed to be, cutting off escape routes and surrounding key military positions. In his flagship, now retreating with what remained of his once proud fleet, Vaxer finally understood the full scope of his error. The humans hadn't just prepared for an invasion. They had used the decades of preparation to surpass everything the Kilari thought they knew about science and warfare. Send the signal, Admiral Zhang commanded as her fleet took position around the Kilari throne world. Let's give them one last chance to prevent unnecessary bloodshed. The message that appeared on every Kilari screen was simple. Your empire was built on stolen knowledge and false superiority. Ours was built on understanding and innovation. Surrender now, and help us build something better. The Kilari throne world hung in space like a jewel, its crystalline cities reflecting starlight across its surface. But beneath that beautiful facade, panic had taken hold. The Empire's ruling council gathered in their ancient chamber, watching as humanity's fleet maintained its perfect blockade formation around their planet. Supreme Commander Vaxer stood before the council, his scales now permanently dulled by stress. The humans have disabled our remaining fleet. Our weapons are useless. Our subjugated worlds are in open rebellion. We have no choice but to consider their terms. But the Kilari Emperor, Zextal, rose from his crystalline throne in fury. No, we are the Empire. We will not bow to primitives who got lucky with stolen technology. Dr. Elena Santos, watching the council meeting through quantum surveillance, shook her head. They still don't understand. She communicated to Admiral Zhang. Should we show them the final evidence? Proceed, Zhang ordered from her flagship's bridge. The council chamber's displays suddenly activated, showing images that made every Kilari present freeze in shock. They were looking at technical schematics, not of human technology, but of their own. Your empire didn't just steal technology from the ancient Kilari. Elena's voice filled the chamber. You misunderstood it. What you thought were weapons were tools for creation. What you used for oppression was meant for uplift. You took a legacy of wisdom and turned it into an instrument of domination. The schematics continued to play, showing the true purpose of devices the Empire had been misusing for centuries. The weapons they'd copied were actually terraforming tools. Their shield technology was meant to nurture developing civilizations, not subjugate them. Impossible, Emperor Zextal whispered, sinking back into his throne. All our power was based on a fundamental misunderstanding. Yes, Admiral Zhang's voice joined the transmission. And now you have a choice. Continue this fight and be defeated, or help us restore these technologies to their true purpose. In the following hours, the Kilari Empire effectively ceased to exist, not through violence or destruction, but through the simple revelation of truth. The species they had dominated for so long began receiving transmissions from Earth, not just technical data, but offers of partnership, of learning together. Aboard the Prometheus, Admiral Zhang watched as Kilari ships began powering down their weapons systems. They're standing down, Commander Chen reported. All across their territory, Imperial forces are surrendering. But humanity's victory wasn't about conquest. In the weeks that followed, Earth established something unprecedented, a galactic recovery initiative. Teams of human scientists and engineers worked alongside former Imperial subjects and even reformed Kilari themselves, learning to properly use the ancient technologies that had been misunderstood for so long. Dr. Elena Santos found herself working directly with former Supreme Commander Vaxar, who had become one of the strongest advocates for reform. Your species did something remarkable, he told her one day as they studied ancient Kilari documents together. You showed us that true power comes from understanding, not just possession. The quantum network that had once controlled an empire now connected a cooperative of worlds, each contributing their unique perspectives and abilities. The dimensional corridors that humanity had mastered became highways of commerce and cultural exchange, rather than military assets. In the Grand Council chamber that had once housed imperial decrees, representatives from Earth and all former imperial worlds gathered to sign the Galactic Concordat. The agreement wasn't just about preventing future conflicts. It was about ensuring that advanced technology would be used for the benefit of all species. Admiral Zhang stood before the assembled delegates, her uniform now bearing the symbols of both Earth and the new Galactic Coalition. "We prepared for war," she said, "but we always hoped for peace. Today proves that the greatest victory isn't defeating an enemy, but transforming them into allies." The galaxy was entering a new era. Humanity had proven that patience, understanding, and wisdom were greater assets than any weapon. The Empire had demanded obedience, but humanity had answered with something far more powerful: the opportunity for redemption. As the signing ceremony concluded, Dr. Santos received a transmission from Earth. New quantum sensors had detected signals from beyond known space, evidence of other civilizations, other empires, other challenges to come. But this time, humanity wouldn't face them alone. They had turned an empire of conquest into a coalition of equals, ready to face whatever the universe had in store.